Ready? Welcome to our meeting. It's the cemetery meeting of February 22nd, 1918. 2018. And I'll start by introducing myself. My name's Lois Mishu.
Roland Waterhouse.
Steve Perello.
Jay Carter.
And we're off. Go for it, Steve.
All right, I sent out a meeting minutes from last month to everybody. Did everybody get a chance to check them out?
I did. And I thank you.
And then I got the agenda for this meeting. Go over old business a little bit. Flags, we got one ream of flags. They're almost all double stapled up.
Okay.
A ream?
Huh?
A ream?
144 flags.
144?
Yeah.
Cool.
But we need at least double that.
Probably.
If not more. And I know we got to get some, purchase some more flag holders. While I'm on that note, I'm probably going to skip ahead a little bit here. The flag holder list. I came up with another Excel spreadsheet, and I only hit 4 cemeteries, and looked at all the veterans' graves that are there and what flag holder they have, what war they fought in, if they were a war veteran, and what the holder looks like. Some are new, some are old, like the old Civil War ones from like, I don't know, 100 years ago, whatever. They're rough. What's that?
150.
Yeah, these things are solid. I mean, you could like crack somebody's head open with them. They're pretty good. I've like spray painted some to make them look a little bit prettier, but I like the old-fashioned part about that, and they're not going anywhere. They're pretty solid. Some of the more newer aluminum ones, you know, they don't last as long, you know.
Steve, did you take any photos of those?
Of
All the different type of flag holders that you've been?
No, I did not. I might have photos already on file of the graves, and
Yep.
but that's actually a good idea.
We're going to have timeout. Luke's going to fix our heat.
All right.
Our meeting. Sorry, it was an interruption. No heat. We had to get it fixed. Go for it, Steve. Let's go
All right,
back at the...
going back to my little flag holder list.
Yep.
I do like the idea of taking pictures of taking modern, current pictures of the graves and the headstones and the flag holders, just so we know what they look like. This list right here, the only one I haven't read is one that we need, and everybody else sort of lined up with whatever service or war they had fought in. So
What, the last one?
Yeah.
I think we said he was Vietnam.
yeah,
Because on his plaque it says what he is.
yeah. I remember looking at the headstone. I'm like,
And I think you took pictures of his
Yeah,
plaque
I did.
too.
So,
Yeah.
take-
Now, can we? That's it. Where they've done so many wars and so much different. Can we actually match up or no? In other words, can we actually? Because Vietnam has a couple of different stages they were at. Same way with like the like World War I and II. They have a couple of different areas that they were more into.
I have seen.
I just didn't know. I mean, I don't want to get
I've seen,
overly.
like, so you got the round
Yeah.
symbol thing, and then you got the stick going into the ground.
Right.
I have seen things where you could put like a little bar across what service they were in, or got Purple Heart or something like that.
But I didn't know because I know that they have different ones. They have the bamboo one for
Right. Yeah. It depends on, I
Yeah.
guess, where you buy them. There's different.
because I saw that on
designs.
the one online.
That's why I wanted to see the pictures so I could get an idea of what these look like. I'm uneducated with anything but the Civil War, so.
Really?
A lot of World War II ones are. It's called the ruptured duck. It's a little. When everybody was getting out of the service at the end of the war, they all got this little pin of this like weird-looking duck with like wings extended or something, and that's like the symbol for World War II.
Yeah, then I want it, yeah. Okay.
All right. The budget paperwork has been submitted, correct? Or
Who? Yes.
The first.
Yes. The 1280. Yes. We had to have that in a month ago or something like that.
The next deadline. Well, there were 2 deadlines. There was a deadline of February 9 for.
Yep. No. That we're all set as far as that goes.
Okay, and there's no final ordinance article due or anything.
No. The only thing we have to do, one of us has to be in front of Warrant and Finance and Board of Selectmen I'm gonna say the 24th, I won't know 100%, they changed it from the 17th to the 24th, are trying to, we'll go that way, because one of the selectmen can't make the 17th,
Yeah.
so we're going from there. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Possibly the 24th.
Yeah, they put that out at the last selectmen's meeting, Tuesday.
And I'm hoping that this Tuesday coming, it can be confirmed that we are gonna do it that way. I think they were looking for answers from the warrant and finance to see if the 24th would work for them too. So that was part of it.
I don't
Okay.
know, I
And
haven't
then, we're having our town meeting the week of June 12th, that Saturday, and I don't know what the date is on that.
16th?
Okay. It will probably be over at Acton School, probably starting at 9 o'clock. I'm not sure where we're gonna be article-wise, but if one of you guys from Shapley is planning on speaking, I have to get permission from the town in order to let you all speak, because it doesn't, that's just the way it works.
Well, when the moderator begins the meeting,
Yeah.
the town meeting, he'll address the fact that there could be different people who are not residents of the town of Acton who might need to say something. He always says that, because our treasurer is not, a town resident. She's a Shapley resident, I believe.
Yes.
Newfield, yeah. Newfield?
Yeah, she lives in Newfield.
Oh, treasurer is Newfield,
So, but,
clerk
you
is, I mean,
our,
Jen's Shapley.
Town administrator is Shapley. So, the moderator always asks, provided that no one in the audience objects, no resident has any objections, we'll,
Because like the fire department chief, he's not a resident, as well as Kenny Paul and stuff like that. So they try to give them the opportunity to speak if they have to. And they usually ask at the beginning if that's all right. And I'll throw the three of you guys' names in at the time. And the most they'll say is yes, no, or why. Usually they don't have an issue with it because it's some way of explain.
it's
just
usually
explaining.
just a formality.
Right.
So,
Keep it all above board and legal.
Now, is that just, so we're going to show up to the town meeting in case there's anybody in the audience that says, why are we,
Exactly.
just,
Yeah, exactly. In case they have questions, it's just like where Jay and Tracy actually worked on one of the cemeteries. They can testify how bad that particularly was, that there was one or two veterans in there, and the reason, what was going on at that point, and this is why we're asking for X, Y, and Z in
I
hopes
don't,
that.
at the town meeting, I do not anticipate
No, I don't.
that there's going to be any problem, provided, once warrant finance gets done and, make their recommendations to the Board of Selectmen, and once the Board of Selectmen review that and actually write the warrant, okay?
Normally, it's not
you know,
too much question.
There's usually not a problem as far as, well, why the hell do you want, X, Y, Z amount of money?
I only have
It
one or
doesn't,
two people
you know,
that usually ask me that question every
doesn't
year.
happen,
And,
so.
and last year, I explained to them the same thing. And unfortunately, or fortunately, it's usually the same person I explain it to every year. And it's the same way with warrant and finance. Last year, when I had to come before them, I explained it. It's the same person last year who asked me 20 questions. He'll probably do the same thing again this year. It seems to always be the same routine, same person, so it's kind of hard.
But you guys probably won't have to say it.
No, biggest thing is, and once that article is done, you don't even have to hang tight, it's just up, I don't know where it's gonna, I don't know where it's gonna fall. That's the only thing. Until
no
the book
problem.
comes out.
Have you ever done anything in Shapley with the town at a meeting or anything, or?
No, not till future recent.
All right, where are we at?
Lois did send out and printed off the paperwork to fill out to apply for a VA
You'll
stone.
need binoculars.
Yeah, I'm sure.
There's several different versions that you can get. You get the upright granite that we all know and love. You get the flat markers that are maybe more modern ones. And there's different things you could put on there, inscriptions and things like that. And then the basic paperwork.
And this is like the government form. This is what they require. This is why a lot of the older ones cannot meet the requirements, which is hard, because you don't have the discharge papers like you do today and stuff like that. So when we want to do things, we hope for better records. I know that DAR and SAR have records, but I don't know if the government accepts them. That's part of the issue, because I had several of these papers filled out back probably about 10 years ago, and unfortunately, they didn't accept them. And I found out that Ron Revad actually told me the same thing, that some they accept and some they don't, and there's no theory to it. I think it depends who's in the
Well,
department at the time it goes through.
All you can do is, submit the paperwork and, provide them with whatever supporting documentation
And that's it.
that you have, and if they approve it and you get it, fine. If they
'Cause-
don't approve it and you don't get it, oh well.
Because I tried to do it as an ancestor to this particular group that I was doing, and I just couldn't.
Ron has gone through the appeals process for at least one
Yeah.
veteran over in Shapley. He sat in front of a screen and talked to somebody down in Washington, and extra paperwork and records and whatnot, and I don't think that one went through. And he cited a similar case that someone won the appeal against the initial VA.
And to me, that's wrong. I think anybody that served should have the right
Well,
to
they
have.
must have a budget. They must
I don't
have a
know.
budget for this stuff, and they must, there's gotta be some rhyme or reason why.
Yeah. Just I
'Cause I don't know how many other groups are actively soliciting like we are for these things.
That I don't know.
Yeah, there might be some stuff.
Because there's a couple in town, especially, like I told Steve, this is what we were talking about last year, and when we talked about it a couple times here. All they have is field stones. We'd like to kind of replace the field stones with real stones.
But you have to, when
And-
we went out to a couple of places that just had a field stone, you don't know, is that actually a grave site?
This particular set has records that go back
Is
on
it
that.
actually a
so-
grave site? What, what war, whatever, okay?
A lot of them have that. A lot of the
'Cause,
people that,
most of the field stones aren't, there's nothing on them as far as marking.
oh no,
goes.
the one particular one that we were looking at, the family knows that it's been there for generational pool, and then the burial records state that that's where this person is. So we got that. And stated also that this person was in a particular war. That's common sense. The problem is they don't take genealogy either. So, I mean, you kind of,
A sworn letter with a, with a stamp, if that would
I don't know how that would work.
legalize the statement.
A lot of reasons. I think that's why Ron personally hasn't done at that other place he was telling us about.
Yeah, he's had a couple paid for by the family, because
Yeah.
the VA said, pound sand, and
Yeah.
he wasn't gonna let it
Just
just.
go hoping.
Unfortunately, when it comes to dealing with the government, as you know and I, they can be very, very stodgy as far as, not granting things,
As far as flags go, what do you think? We need 3 more reams or 4?
I'd say 3. I mean, we can always get more if you want to buy 3 more.
And what do you want to do? Is wait until we actually get a head count as far as holders go, or get generic holders for now, or
Let
get
me-
something that has real WWs and stuff, and then move
Yeah,
to
'cause
some of the
most of the
others?
ones I've seen, like in Maple Grove and wherever else, a lot of them are just U.S. veteran or
Right.
U.S. war veteran. It
Right.
doesn't say more specifics. Let me look through the list, and, if we can get 10 for now.
You want, 10 with who they
Let me- yeah.
were, or are?
Yeah, let me divvy up what I think we can get.
All right.
I mean, if we buy one that just says U.S. veteran, if we're replacing that one with a World War II,
Yeah.
we could take that U.S. veteran one and put it somewhere else.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking, and just keep on moving down the road
Yeah,
until
yeah.
we get so much at a time, and just keep on moving them. And then eventually, what I'd like to do, like something similar to what they did in Shapley, get all all the holders out front, because we do have a memorial out front.
Yeah,
And put the holders and flags out here for them, like, something like they have in over at Shapley Town Hall. I don't know if y'all have seen that or not. It's really nice, and it's really respectful. And I thought that would be really nice for out here, considering that's where they got a lot of our memorial stones for different things. As far as Maple Grove goes, we were here, Roland and I were here for the meeting of the Forestry and Conservation on Tuesday. I'll let him talk as far as what he saw as in his part, and I'll come in later if you need me to as Maple Grove. But
what meeting was that?
there was a Forestry Conservation Department,
Well, Forestry Conservation Committee,
whatever, it's along that lines.
they have a proposal that they want to create a nature trail where the old Hebo-Hibo Road is. They have been digging in records and whatnot, trying to find out the status as far as the road was concerned. There's two varying opinions as to what the actual status of the road is. They came up with the fact that it is a discontinued road, that back in 1936,
At the time it was the selectmen had changed
the
it.
powers to be within the town got a hold of the county, because back in 1936, things went through the county, where they don't necessarily go through the county anymore. But supposedly, the town requested to discontinue the H Road.
Not H Road. Hebo-Hibo.
Excuse me.
Hebo-Hibo.
Hebo-Hibo. I get them mixed up. They both start with an H. But we have several individuals who are longtime residents of the town who, and I'm pretty sure I remember seeing it somewhere as well, where the town actually had a warrant article, or an article on the town warrant, and I don't know when it was. I'm thinking it probably was back in the 70s or 80s. I have to get a hold of Jen and see if I can find out. But supposedly, there was a article on a warrant to close the road. Well, closure and discontinuance are two different balls of wax. But irregardless, what they have found supports that unless it was specifically not requested, the town retains an easement down that stretch, whether you call it a road, a trail, whatever, okay? Because it was done prior to 1965. For the town to not opt, or for the town to opt to not retain the easement, it would have had to been in the wording when they, closed or discontinued the road. They have supporting information that really doesn't make a whole lot of darn difference one way or another. Okay? If you have an easement or a right-of-way, whatever you want to call it, it's supposed to be 3 rods. Now, 3 rods is like
49 and a half feet.
49 and a half feet. There might be 49 and a half feet coming off from Milton Mills Road where the school, you go past the school, and you get down to where the cemetery is, and where the road, quote, is. To me, the road doesn't start till you go across the bridge. They've got over that little stream, which is actually behind the cemetery. But irregardless, supposedly it's 3 rods. Well, you ain't got 3 rods of width once you cross that stream and start heading uphill. You don't have 49 and a half feet from there to the Lebanon side. It ain't happening. But again, they're not talking about opening the road. They want to open a trail. Now, what they would like to do, I think, is they would like it to be accessible to foot traffic and ATVs and bikes. I don't think that you're going to get it accessible to automobiles or whatever. Number one, the road won't support it. It's usually full of potholes, and I'm talking deep potholes from trucks driving in and out, hauling timber. As a matter of fact, supposedly they're doing a cut up in there now. It wouldn't surprise me.
If you look at the road, it's
Wouldn't surprise me. But in any case, they want to try and get it to where it can be utilized by all of us within the town if we want to go out and walk, ride, whatever. But they haven't determined to what extent they want this as far as being able to traverse the old Hebo Road. I played devil's advocate with them for a while, and I think I upset the town's forester. Because I asked him, that bridge that crosses that stream belongs to, and I asked her, and she told me the guy's name, and he immediately said the bridge doesn't belong to him because improvements made to a road, once you make the improvement, you lose ownership. Well, he's got property on both sides of the damn bridge. So if he wants to cut the bridge down, tear it down, burn it, whatever, it's his bridge. He built it initially. It's been rebuilt several times. In fact, I think one of the reasons why the road was closed or discontinued was because at some point in time somebody went in and cut a whole bunch of the supports underneath the bridge, and the town said that it wasn't safe to use anymore because somebody had whether they did it on purpose or whether they did it maliciously, whatever, I don't know. But in any case, that's what they're trying to do. They want to open a nature trail, if you will, not necessarily road, but everybody calls it the road.
Now, as the Maple Grove stance, which I'm coming out as, ours, they told us that night, we still retain to the middle of the road, both sides. Supposedly, they have what they call a surface easement, which, come see, come saw, whatever it is. Our problem lies in, so wasn't the other gentleman with us, is the damages that we still abstain from, even the ATVs, the four-wheelers, whatever goes through there like that, we still have damages. We wanted to know what they intended to do as far as trying to stop the damages. They really couldn't give us, I didn't feel, a straight answer. They didn't know really what to do. And who was going to be responsible at that point on, because we were trying to put, so the damages would no longer pertain, because we had somebody that wanted to sue the association at one point because of damages being sent, and because it's in our bylaws that we had to protect that cemetery at all cost and all whatever you want to do, that this could run into an issue, and they didn't seem to have an answer, only to write down our concerns, bring them to him, and that they would contact the town's attorney. That's all they would give us for answers, I felt. Maybe I'm wrong, that's how I looked at it. Our other issue, which I stressed, was that most of our trustees and committee members won't be back from their vacation lands, I call it, until sometime in May or June. So me and the person that was here cannot make those kind of decisions without the full bearing of the trustees and other officers being involved. I feel that they have to have more meetings on it than what they're thinking. I think they want it on the ballot for June. They really didn't say. I believe they're looking at trying to harvest out there. I could be wrong. I know that they are in wetland out there. There's only so much they can harvest and do, because that's just the way it is. All I can say is it's a continuing issue, and go from there. And now coming back to this board, I guess our board and stand is the same thing. Under state statutes and law, we have to protect what we have to protect. I mean, and I basically told them that we fall on these state statutes. I mean, whether it's ancestral or historical, we still fall under the state statutes. So, unless you guys think it's different, it's just unfortunately.
It's a load.
Yeah.
No, and it's going to be a constant headache.
Yeah.
Regardless of, I agree, as far as you want to open it up for nature, for people to go, walk and whatever, that's fine.
Why do they need another ATV road? That's what I don't
I
understand. There's
idea.
Well,
there's
I don't
plenty.
necessarily think that they're looking at it in terms of ATV or motorcycle, dirt bike, whatever. Number one, there's a piece of property down on that road that belongs to the town, okay? And it hasn't been cut in quite a while,
I
I
want
would
to say in the
say.
70s, late 80s.
So, there may be, some harvesting that they would like to do,
which could be
which,
playing into the whole decision
Yeah.
making. But
that could be part of it. Again, both Tom Cashin and Carl Davis both would like to be able to, they'd like to be able to open it up
They don't know
with the
how.
hopes that they can educate some of the people who abuse the current road, quote, quote. Well, the chances of that happening are slim.
no,
I used to hunt the Hibo years ago, back in, I think I started hunting the Hibo back in the late 70s. But at that particular time, there was nothing on that Hibo road. It was strictly a logging road, okay? And not easy to traverse, because if you've ever followed a skidder, they're not real, wonderful as far as, where they go and, oh, gee, there's a hole here. No big deal. My tires are 6 foot tall. I can go through anything. Well, when you utilize a particular roadway, whatever you want to call it, skidder trail, after a while, you cut some pretty deep ruts, okay? And there didn't used to be anything out there, like I said. The first,
Home?
it wasn't really a home. The first cabin, I'll call it, is probably, or was probably, a good half to 3/4 of a mile in, okay? It was built, I know the guy that built it. He used to be a Kittery cop. He owned don't ask me how or why he bought a piece of property up here, but he built a cabin up there that actually, was literally devastated by people who do not respect other people's property.
Yeah.
They busted that place all to hell. So now, there is somebody who owns property on the High Bow that built a house in there.
Long story behind that, too.
I'm not privy to all the
Yeah.
hoop wars and whatnot, so. But in any case, that's what they want to do. They would like to open it up as a nature trail.
See, a nature trail I could understand, it's people walking. But when you start introducing motor vehicles of any sort, you've created a potential danger for the people that are walking in the nature trail. The two
Understand.
don't mix.
Understand?
Yeah, so.
No.
but
And that being
so be it.
said, if you turn around and go to either the state statutes for the state of Maine about roads and all that stuff, or it's called mainroads.com or .net. It's on Facebook as well as it's on a website. They talk about the whole roads and the laws and stuff like that. And it's pretty interesting because they actually deal with this all the time. So they're right on the money in a lot of things. And it explains it, and that it talks about how when a road gets closed as well as discontinued, and if you want to reopen it, how to even do the process, whether it's a trail or whether it's just because you got people that want to live and build out there. It talks about it.
To be quite honest with you, I don't know why anybody would want to walk from Maple Grove Cemetery side of the High Bow to the Lebanon.
So how, like 5 miles, how?
Oh, that's a
Oh,
long
no,
walk.
it's almost at the Lebanon line.
It's a long walk.
It's just a straight.
Pretty
Well,
much.
pretty much.
There are a few curves, not, they're not any kind of real sharp curves or anything like that. But there's a beaver pond over here and a beaver pond over here. And guess what goes right through the road? A ditch that's probably about this damn deep. So, I mean, just trying to walk it is, something that people are going to go, wow, unless somebody has gone in there. Now, I haven't been up on a High Bow in a long time, but unless somebody's gone in there and, filled some things in, which they probably shouldn't, being as you're messing with habitat.
Yeah.
So, in any case,
And that's
that's
kind of
all.
what, and that's kind of what I was just talking to the COE tonight, or I don't know, board anyway. I was talking to him a little bit about that, and because somebody is logging out there, and he did say it was crucial property, in other words, crucial land that, I don't know if that's state or town crucial land, but anyway, and that'd be another thing that they another item they have to go through to get to point A to point B. So, I don't know what the conservation and forestry are thinking. Myself personally, I think it's gonna be a longer process than what they want, but that's my own opinion. All right,
Moving on.
Moving on?
yeah, might as well
Alright.
move on.
Yeah.
Town email address and the website. I know you guys were working
Yes.
with Jen.
Yeah, I've been studying with the historical site website, figuring out how to use theirs to translate that information into this one. And I'm fairly confident they're created the same way. So it's just a matter of getting a password and then getting rights to enter onto the site. And then we find out what the limitations for our page is actually for megabytes.
And that would be the one, Jen would be the one to talk to because she's our
Yep.
main person. So maybe after this meeting, if she's not busy, you can maybe catch up with her a little bit then. If not, maybe you can set up a time or date that's
That's what
better
I'm
for you
hoping, is to
guys.
set up an appointment. We can
Yeah.
just sit down for
So-
10 minutes and go through it.
Yeah, I'm more than likely, as long as she's not busy, she'll probably take a couple minutes to
Yep.
talk to you.
Next.
So Steve, what date was this Newfield stuff
All
supposed to
right,
be?
I just got an email today from CJ Pike up in Newfield. May 5th, which is a Saturday at 1 PM at the Historical Society, is when this Newfield Murders presentation is. I guess they have, the lady that's actually going to do the presentation is a friend of hers. They have some newspaper clippings and some other stuff available. And we got some connections out, trying to find out where maybe some of these people are buried. There's, at least one person is buried in Sanford or Springvale, whatever. One is here in Acton. And
It would be great if we could get the photos, the stuff for the presentation of
Yeah.
these, and try to blend it all together.
oh, correct. And then where are we at? I would like to reach out to maybe some of the Horns that still live around here.
Are they all related? In other words,
Yeah.
all the Horns is, technically, I would think they all are, but
Maybe,
maybe.
maybe not. There are a ton of water houses in the Waterboro neck of the woods, and I'm not related to any of them.
Well, I know Louise.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I'll talk to her and Hope.
Yeah,
and
her-
see if,
Nancy's another one, Nancy Horn, which would be, I don't know what her old married name is, but she lives over there, you know where the cemetery is in Youngs Ridge?
yeah.
That's where her mother just
that
passed
the big
away.
farmhouse.
Yes,
Yeah.
Nancy might have some more information on that also.
I know it's not, a great subject to say, hey, 100.
No, they're pretty fair-minded. They might not even realize, to be honest. I mean, I didn't realize it until we actually went
Yeah, I
poking
mean,
around, and that article came out. so-
Elsie Horn died, in 1900, well
Right.
before anybody that we know is alive and kicking. So, they might not know that history of their family, but it's,
Right.
it's important. So, but yeah, so I'll have a little bit more information next time.
There was a time on that?
Yes.
5 May at 1 p.m. over at the Historical Society.
Yes. Are you going to have enough room at the Historical Society?
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be standing room only. Like,
Oh, it's standing room. Oh, the last time I was over there.
5 May?
Well, if we had the heat going,
5th of
it-
May, 1
hopefully in May
o'clock.
it'll be more.
Over at the Chaplain, yep, over at the Chaplain
Oh yeah,
Historical
the
Society.
Grange.
it's actually cleaned up enough, so.
Chaplain
just-
Acton Historical
Yeah,
Society.
we don't
Down
have
on
any
109.
facilities.
Yeah.
all the-
Yeah,
bathroom
okay.
stuff.
Now I can-
If we, because I want to, I want to advertise this here locally and stuff, and then, up in Newfield as well. And if we get to determination that, it's going to be bigger than we expect, we could find another location to have it.
All right.
so.
Let me know ahead of time, and, push comes to shove, I imagine if we had to have it here, we could probably have it here. All I have to do is talk to Jen or something,
All right. All right, new
I-
business, we already talked at length about the Hebo Road and
Yeah.
Maple Grove.
Yeah.
We already talked about the flag holder list. I did talk to Ron Rivard about his restrictions that he told me about when he listed the cemeteries in Shapley on the town website. And he was told a couple of years later, after he did that hey, you got to take everybody's name off who died in the last 25 years.
Which to me doesn't really, personally to me, doesn't make any sense, because they get listed in the paper, they get listed everywhere else, what makes
They
the
may get
difference?
listed in the paper. There is no requirement to list a death in the paper.
I know, 95%
Most of
them
the
though.
papers do a death notice.
Right.
At no charge.
Right.
Okay, a little,
Here I am.
we're talking,
Yeah.
small, But if you don't want anything in the paper, there's no requirement that says there has to be.
Oh, no, it's just,
You
just like I said, I find it
obit.
interesting.
So,
But I did get the main statute, it's Title 22, Part 6.
Yeah, I read some of that,
Yeah.
that's just, like you said, it's enough to knock your
It's
head.
legalese, and I'm not versed very well in legalese, but I'm not gonna try to I read through it, and it didn't really scream at me that you can't list somebody, but I don't wanna mess with it. So if we do put cemetery lists on the Acton Cemetery website,
You know what we could do is like, for instance, I'm gonna use myself. Say I died tomorrow and you're gonna put me out there for X, Y, and Z. Instead, this is what we do for the historical part of it when we write out like a genealogy books. We just use like my last name and death or my last name and living. We don't put who the first person is, nor, that kind of thing. I think we could get away with something like
I
that.
think, don't quote me on it, but I think Ron does something similar, died in the last 25 years, and he lists the name.
Exactly,
Without
like,
any,
without nothing, yeah.
so, I mean, it's.
Because I hate to,
Even the town report.
yeah.
At least in Shapley.
Acton
everybody
does.
who moved from Shapley in the last year that died, they're listed in like the front.
Yeah, I was gonna say Acton does the same thing. We usually do death, marriage, and births. So,
But yeah, if we do post cemetery listings on the website, we'll just leave anybody who's died in the last 25 years off.
yeah, or like I said, we can just put the
Yeah. or just the
so-and-so
names.
died, but not the first name, and leave it at that.
Okay.
We can work that out when we get there.
Yeah.
Jay's gonna be really good at this by the time he's all done. He'll hate us all.
Last month, I mentioned that I might not be living around here, come a few months, and I decided to quit my only political position I've ever had. And Roland decided to chime in that he's seeking further
Running for selectman.
running for selectman. So, is that still on your agenda?
It is on my agenda. At the current time, one of the selectmen whose term is up in June has expressed that he is not going to seek reelection. As far as myself is concerned, I have to wait until papers can be,
Circulated.
no, I have to wait until, I think it's 80 some odd days before the town meeting, before you can
Get
take out
signatures.
papers declaring yourself as a candidate.
Really, that's not a lot of time.
It
Well,
is, it
you've
is.
got,
You only
know,
need so many.
80 some odd days is a fairly long period of time. It's like 2.5
I'm just thinking like,
months.
state.
You all, I don't remember what they say. We don't need like 1,000 signatures. You need like 100 signatures or something like
You only
that.
need 25.
Yeah.
And
And they say to get
most-
a few more
yeah,
only
most of the-
because,
Most people say get more than 25, just so that, you make sure that, your
So, like,
people that
Middle of
sign their
April or
name,
so?
no, mid-March,
Mid-March?
yeah. I do intend to take papers out whenever the time frame
Okay.
is available.
And if you win, then you
Well,
obviously,
at the current time, no one else is running,
all right.
or nobody else has come forward,
yeah.
Look.
looking, so I may be running unopposed, I don't know.
But yeah, if you win, then,
If I
Come
win, I have
by
to
June,
resign.
by July 1st or June 31st, he has to resign, but he could be our liaison.
Yeah. But I have to resign from this committee as well as
Warrant Finance.
Finance.
And Zoning Board of
And-
Appeals.
the zoning board of appeals.
I'm gonna miss you.
I'm not gone anywhere yet,
I miss you.
so,
we'll start our smear campaign.
oh, all right, yes.
We can make him a
This,
liaison.
this from a fellow military individual.
Oh, I'm very sarcastic if you haven't noticed. Let's see, so the MOCA, next thing is MOCA membership. I've been a member of the Maine Old Cemetery Association for 13 years or something now. I know Lois is a member, correct?
Lois is not a member, but she talks to Pat a lot.
Okay, so it's not really expensive. The Historical Society, I got them to sign on board a few years ago. There's a lot of good things that happen.
Do you actually want to do that? Now, it's not, I know it's less than $100, even as an association. Do you want to do that as a group?
That's what I was wondering.
We can do it, I
there are
just don't
some-
know. It's not that expensive.
Well, yes, but if you do it as a group, you'd have to do it as Acton Cemetery Committee. Okay.
That's what I was planning to do
You
it.
couldn't specify
No.
you
No,
or
no.
me or
That's what I was,
somebody.
that's what I mean. We do it as,
Yeah, so
we do it as like they did the Historical Society type of
Because-
deal.
Yeah, so yeah, that's,
Committee members,
Right.
may change.
Exactly.
all right, I do not see any amounts for membership.
I know,
Like
it's
for-
not that
like
expensive.
For me, it was like 20 bucks for 5
Yeah.
years.
And I want to say it's like 100 for a group. I might be wrong, but it's not that expensive. I know I know they have a lifetime one too. No, I am not. I do a lot of talking with Pat. It's just like the Historical Society here in town. I do a lot of talking to people, but I haven't really quite joined.
Well, I want to apologize for not having that information, how much
That's
it
all right.
costs
It's
right
not
now.
your fault.
But I will have it for you
You're
next
usually good at that.
time. Yeah, I know, I'm getting old or something.
I can't imagine. Kind
So,
of busy.
the next thing,
As long as, before you jump off that subject, I saw a post on, I believe it was Facebook, where someone is going to be doing a workshop, and I believe it was MOCA or MOCA Associated, on
Graves?
graves and cleaning,
Yes.
and I know
And repair?
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that I saw it yesterday on Facebook.
Is it down this way, though, up north? Because a lot of times they have them up north.
I think it was out of Waterboro.
Really?
That's
I
the,
think.
that's the May meeting. That's the May 19th meeting, I think.
May 19th?
Yeah, that's
Is that
just-
Mother's Day weekend?
I don't know. That's just their,
I'd have to look again.
that's just their meeting. So they have like, some classes and some other stuff, get together stuff in the morning, and then they usually go to like a local cemetery, and like the local people will give.
Bring them down here, show all kinds of local stuff to work with.
The vice president of MoCA is out of Waterboro.
Yeah.
And so they'll do like a tour somewhere, and they'll have some
Yeah.
lunch, and that's about it. I mean, it's a great time. I went to one, actually, I met Wes Ham there, at the old Willowbrook, like 10 years ago or something. It's really cool to go to. I don't know if it costs anything other than being a member. But once more information about the meeting comes out, I will spread that around. I told Lois earlier that I was contacted by somebody out of Massachusetts looking for some descendants or some ancestors in Newfield. And I ended up finding the cemetery I was hoping to find yesterday. But while I was on the MoCA website, they have a transcription list for each county.
Really?
And this goes back to actually when I met up with Dean Knight. He showed me something that it was 3,500 pages of all the cemeteries in New York County. I have not been able to find that mega list until the other day when I was on the MoCA website. It says, hey, log in here and see what we have. Lo and behold, there's the 3,500 page thing. So that, it's got every town.
Do you have to be a member for that one, or can you do it?
Yeah, you gotta log in with,
All right.
username and password
I
and stuff.
suppose I had to become
So
one.
that is massive, so, and they say don't share it with anybody, I guess it's their intellectual property or whatever it is. But that's something good that we should have access to.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe, like, when you look into that, I don't think it's that expensive, and I know even for a lifetime membership, it's not that expensive. We should probably consider it either way. That way, at least the town would have the access, even if we no longer become a group or stay a group, or we come and go, like Roland was saying, at least the next generational pool will have the opportunity to have that, if it becomes a lifetime thing, or even a year-to-year thing. And that way, also the selectmen, with eyes being, if they needed to have the information after, it would be nice.
Yeah. So that's another selling point to join up with MoCA there, so.
Well, I hadn't, but I did a lot of talking with Pat and stuff in the future, in the past. She was the one that actually pointed out that Acton needed a lot of help, and like I told her, it's kind of hard when you only have 2 or 3 people. And this is even before you joined, Steve. This is back when myself, Hannah, and Wes were part of that, and it's hard. You got to have more involvement than just 2 or 3 people, considering you see how many cemeteries we have here in town. And 2 or 3 people just don't do it, and unfortunately, everybody wants theirs done yesterday.
I don't really see a whole lot of people clamoring,
No,
okay?
and you
for-
had such a good
for
time.
Cemetery maintenance.
No.
All right? I will agree to the fact that, these cemeteries or burial sites that we have within the town are definitely in need of attention. But again, as you specified, trying to get people involved in something which doesn't hold anything
For them. at
for
all.
them, or, they don't necessarily see any benefit in, going out in the woods and, oh, look, there's a grave out here.
No, not unless it actually pertains to them and their family
And,
history.
chances are,
Usually
well,
no.
most people, to be quite honest with you, most people don't give a darn about their family history.
I do.
I'm just saying, okay? You have different generations,
Oh,
okay?
yeah, definitely.
I'm of one generation. You're of a different generation. He's of a different generation. We're close, but we're not, in the same generational pool, okay? When you start talking to younger people that are in their 20s and 30s, they could give a darn about, a grave site anywhere, unless it's theirs. And, if you're talking to them and it's theirs, you got more power than I do.
Oh, I know, it's not easy, and unfortunately or fortunately, you're down, I am down to probably the last of the Mohegans or the last of the runs, because I'm probably one of the younger ones as far as, being even part of this committee. I'm not the oldest, but I'm not the youngest on this committee. I'm one that's pretty passionate on this committee as far as, because a lot of them were finding out, like we found out about Elsie Hahn and a few others, what they've done. It's too bad that more people weren't interested, even as volunteers, or, I know that the high schoolers need credits for volunteering now because it's part of their thing.
Community involvement.
It's just involvement, and
Well, the
unfortunately,
thing,
it's going
you have
downhill.
to generate the interest.
And that's
Okay?
it.
And, I think that we're doing a good job of generating interest. We're starting to make some progress. It certainly is not a point where we need to stop. Once you start doing something, you want to continue it on and hopefully get more people involved.
Well, that's kind of like
But you also have to realize, there's not a selectman in this town currently who can identify even 20% of the cemeteries that are located in this town.
That's why I'm voting for you.
he at least knows what his half is.
You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. I don't know where all of the cemeteries are, and I'm on the darn committee, okay? I can find a whole bunch of them. I would hope that I would be able to find at least 50 to 60% of them.
Right now, we're one shy of Steve and I knowing where all of them are.
Unless you're willing to go look, guess what?
It takes some commitment.
Yes,
it
it
does.
does. And that's what people don't, that commitment and time, and a lot of people just don't have it anymore.
Well.
And that's part of it.
Um,
Anything else you got to add to this, Jay? Because you were pretty quiet down there.
Well, I was reading through this, so
Oh,
I'll
okay.
get back to this with you all once we're done that. Listening at the same time.
When did you guys want to set another meeting?
That's the last item on our
I guess,
agenda?
unless you think of something else.
No?
Well, that's all I have, unless there's other business, new business, blah, blah, blah.
I know of no other business.
Pretty much. The last Thursday in March is the 29th.
29th. How's that sound?
So March 29th?
Yeah.
As far as I know, there are no problems with March 29th for me.
March 29th at 5 o'clock.
And if a problem develops, I will let you know.
Yes, please. Same way with y'all. Hopefully we don't get no northeasters, no illnesses, no broken bodies.
Yeah.
There is possibly, it is Holy Thursday. I go to church a lot. So that's at 7. So yeah, we just can't be long-winded, Lois.
Well, if you want to change it to the day
No,
before,
that's fine. No.
don't give me a hard time.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second the motion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so let me point this out now that